They're supposed to kill
They
us.
didn't move it up now. Welcome to Issues of the Day, where we discuss key issues in the news. I'm Grace Ayoyeniko. Joining me in the studio today are our distinguished guests, Mr. Rashid Oniyonge, political commentator. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Sahid Ayeboka, in-house editor.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Now the headlines from our news updates. Rep in rowdy session over motion to summon Tinubu. EFCC arraigned ex-Port Harcourt refinery boss for money laundering. And Peter Obi voices fear over his safety ahead of 2027 election. The House of Representatives descended into a heated session on Wednesday as lawmakers disagree over a motion proposing that President Bola Tinubu be invited to explain the alleged non-funding of constituency projects. The motion, sponsored by the member representing Aba North and Aba South Federal Constituency of Abia State, Alex Ikweche, criticized the poor implementation of approved budgets and the continued delay in releasing capital funds to ministry, departments, and agencies. The development followed a constitutional point of order raised by Benedict Atabene, who represents Okwe Saple Ovie, Federal Constituency of Delta State. He informed the House that a circular from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has announced the suspension of funding for zonal intervention projects pending a fresh verification process. The issue sparked intense debate with lawmakers from different political parties expressing concerns over the slow execution of projects approved by the National Assembly and the impact of delayed funding on constituency development. Mr. Oniyonge, I want to ask you, you heard what it is on the news.
Yes.
Now, as we're talking, what just came to me is, these are people, House of Rep members. We've never heard them, summon the president on any account.
Yes.
Perhaps because this has to do with their own interest.
Yeah.
So how do you react to that, sir?
Well, it's logical. If their interest is directly involved, they will raise issues. But the very act of inviting the president to come and explain something to the House of Rep is a bit disrespectful, I must say.
Yeah.
The president has people who can
Who are responsible
for that. The House of Representatives should know that the president have lieutenants who can come before them and explain this. Yes, an executive president is supposed to oversee the executive branch and get these things done. But if the problem is that of funding, the House of Rep itself knows that funding is a challenge. Okay. So, but the constituency projects are the projects with which they reach their constituency, with which they validate the choice that their constituency making, electing them to the House of Rep. Okay, we are bringing something home. In the US, they call them pork barrel projects. So it is something that should concern them. But the very idea that the president should come before them and explain, yes, it's democracy, and they can do that. It's within their power to summon the president. But the point is that before you get to that point, there are so many people who can provide us explanation, as the Accountant General had already done, that there is a suspension in the fund, in the funding of this project because they want to do verification process, and I believe that is what they are doing with nearly everything.
Okay.
Because so many. I don't want to suggest this thing. It is the ministries that implement the projects on behalf of the president. So, but there are.
Yes, talking about the ministry, it's also, in the public glad to know that Even government spending on MDAs,
MDA.
has been on a very low key in recent time. In fact, a lot of them complain that they have not gotten anything from the go apart from paying salaried capital projects and all. I guess this is what is also coming down to the National Assembly, why they are, why they have to raise this uproar. So what's your take on it, sir?
Okay, thank you very much. I think they started with number one. Currently, we are running some concurrent budgets as we speak, and even the release of money to some MDAs. For example, the Ministry of the Blue Economy, the 2025 budget. I think the maximum amount that was released to them is 1.79 of their total budget. So, how does the ministry run on 1% or less, even approximately 2% of the budget that benchmark for that year? And also lack of payment to contractors. We know of recent, last month, the president paid about 1,000, more than 1,000 contractors for some of the jobs done. So they came, the Labour Party honorable rep member there spoke about this specifically. And like Mr. Onyongi said, to just jump at the president to say he should come and explain. For me, is an overreach. Aha. We have offices of the Accountant General. We have the Minister of Finance, who is also the one of the coordinating ministers of the economy.
Okay, you're saying that they should summon those ones.
They should summon those guys first, because they are the ones at that's their own prime focus.
All right.
The disbursement of funds. And we also know, of course, in Nigeria, when they want to sack you, most especially in Tinubu's administration, you have to go and claim you are sick, and then you resign
on health
grounds. So, but we know what they do. One of the things responsible for it to be expunged out of his position was also because he wasn't disbursing money, even when the president tells him to disburse money. But currently, also the challenge of not funding the budget is a serious challenge that I think the House of Rep has a responsibility to ask about. But the question is the timing. Why is it that at the point where they are halting their own constituency project is the time where they have this route session? When the budgets have not been fully funded, MPA is not getting their money. Why didn't they speak out?
They didn't speak out.
So they
didn't hear anything from them.
We heard almost close to nothing from them. But now, when your constituency project, and it's also a backlog for them because it's also the election year, and they need this constituency money to even fund, to facilitate their campaign. And the government is saying, okay, we are halting because we also want to do one or two verifications. And even this, because the legislative arm of government is supposed to oversight on the executive arm of government. But the question is, who oversights over the constituency project of legislators? Whether they actually spend the money the way they are supposed to spend it, and whether they did not even spend it. So even the issue of constituency project for them is subject of debate. That's what is the essence of this. Nigerians have local government to cater to their needs. They have state government to cater to their needs. Each of us, we have all our states. The federal government to cater to our needs. Now our legislators also cater to some extent to our needs. And yet our needs are not met. So there's a serious re-evaluation that needs
the entire process.
The entire process. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be going over to our second story for the day. All right. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, has arraigned the former managing director of Port Harcourt Refinery Company Limited, Ahmed Iko, before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Federal High Court in Abuja on allegation of money laundering. Iko appeared before Justice Ian Eko to answer a 12-count charge alongside Masterpiece Project and Investment Limited. Both defendants pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Following the arraignment, the court granted Iko bail in the sum of 150 million naira with one surety and adjourned the case until the 12th, 13th, and 14th of October for the commencement of trial. The charges are part of the EFCC ongoing investigation into the alleged diversion of funds approved for the rehabilitation of Nigeria's state-owned refinery. Sir, we are here again. Nigerian refinery. This news kept coming on and on and on, and yet there's no end to it. There's no solution to it. We're here with another money laundering case because these cases they have been coming up and here and there, and yet come out, and we don't see the end to some of these trials.
The long which is supposed to be Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, but some people have renamed it as the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation because when government
And then
when that the channel through which Nigeria makes most of the money from crude oil, so and had this much latitude in the past to play around with the accounting regarding how this money is spent. You remember that President Tinubu recently, not too long ago, he signed an executive order that actually mandates that all revenue, even the ones coming from NFPC, to be domiciled in the federation account, which created a lot of. I think the decision has been challenged in court, where we are yet to see the outcome of that.
Right.
But the reason for doing this, I presume, is to clean up the inflows, because a lot of corruption is taking place. This has every consensus Nigerians are asking every government that the corruption in NNPC is much.
Huge.
So now we are seeing, I think the amount of money involved, no, not this particular one. There are two cases involving, there's another one involving another managing director of another refinery, Warri Refinery, about $700,000, and a separate $100,000, almost $1 billion. In dollars, imagine if we have that money to spend on capital projects that we just talked about. It's a lot of money. So while admitting that nobody is guilty of it, there should be full accountability for how money are spent in this organization, because it's our cash cow, if you want to. I mean, without any doubt about that. Right. If NNPC falls apart, Nigeria will lose half of the revenue it gets from selling crude oil.
All right,
so it's very, very important that this case be followed through to its logical conclusion. And if anybody is found guilty of swallowing our money, they should vomit it.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sahid, I want to know, does this build confidence or raise some kind of hope for Nigerians now that, but we are seeing now that, they have been probing, somebody who is a former boss of, the petroleum refinery in Port Harcourt. Is it raising any kind of hope and confidence that this government is on the right direction? And secondly, that things will begin to, change for the better for us?
I think our development in the oil and gas space has been slow. We have our largest investment, because even as a Nigerian, your dream is to work in the oil and gas sector, because the money pumped into that sector is massive. For example, in the upstream, and the oil and gas sector is divided into three streams: upstream, midstream, downstream. In the midstream, where you have the refineries, Nigeria, for many years, we had some small modular refineries here and there, but we did not have any state-owned refinery working for about 30 years. And even for more than 30 years, the NNPC account has never been audited. So it's like you make money for us, you spend the money, nobody checks. So you just tell us, for example, before the removal of subsidy, the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes the NNPC just comes and tells you, we've used everything to pay subsidy, nothing is left. So we had under Mele Kyari, at least there is a supposed audit of NNPC. And now, so that for me is some sort of growth.
Okay.
Now that the President Tinubu has said all money made by NNPC must be remitted to FAC and remitted to the CBN, then they can now give them back whatever percentage for them to be able to recoup for the next month. That's also some level of transparency also coming
That's
in.
coming in.
So it is not just NMPC making spending, telling us what is left. And for these guys, the money we spent on working on these refineries in total is about $21 billion. And yet, we are incapable of running, because some people say the refineries were not working. No, Port Harcourt refinery, Warri refinery were working, but they were not profitable. Why? Because we are unable to refine up to PMS. That is even the chunk of what we need the most, and what is also in demand the most.
All right.
And you know, the crude oil has more than 8,000 deliverables, that things you can get
from a byproduct and all the rest.
Byproducts and all the rest. Just imagine in this completely unwarranted and unneeded war between US, Israel, and Iran. Imagine we didn't have Dangote refinery because of this guy's action.
It would have been a different story.
We would have been buying our probably 5,000, 6,000 naira per liter. And this is just because some people did not do their due diligence. Some people refused to work. Some people stole our money. And because of that, 242 million people will have to suffer this much. So even now with Dangote being the biggest refinery in the country and some other refineries also coming up, this Port Harcourt refinery could have given us a bit of leverage during this time. We could have made a lot of money. But imagine a country where you just export crude oil, then you go and look for money to go and buy it. It's like exporting cocoa, then buying chocolate
into the
or exporting coffee, then buying sachets of coffee tea. So Nescafe, etc. So we need to be more patriotic in this country. You can't use the country's wealth to cater to the needs and the wants of your own nuclear family. Because in most cases, even these people that steal from us, they don't take care of even their extended family. And this money will be sufficient to take care of 2, 3, 4, 5 generations. Why we have people starving to death? And we claim to be people of faith. People who believe in God, either Muslim or Christian. We believe in the hereafter that will be accountable. What is being taught in our churches and masjids? Don't these people listen to preaching that there is an accountability after? And even in logic, in metaphysics, one of the proof for the existence of God is based on morality. That these immoral actions happening in this world, there must be a place other than this world where a just leader will come and judge things again. If not, we'll just be in an animal kingdom. So we cannot claim to be people of faith, and at the same time, you steal money in a magnitude. Just imagine spending $21 billion
for what?
And now we are now the Ojulari, the new boss of NMPC, has just like us gotten into partnership with a Chinese firm to come and help us run our Warri refinery, because it's the most latest refinery we've got, and it also has an arm for petrochemicals, so that they can process many other things, not just crude, not just oil. And so even now we are also starving in terms of gas, even though we have very great deposit of hydrocarbon in the country. So our people need to be patriotic, need to be more God-fearing, and the punishment for people that sabotage the nation this way should be of greater magnitude. It shouldn't be a joking matter.
So that it serves as deterrent.
So that it serves as deterrent, even retribution to others. So retribution that you've made us suffer, you will suffer. Then deterrent for other people not to want to fall into that same. Just imagine a case scenario where Dangote refinery was non-existent at this point in time.
That we are in.
Now that we are shouting things,
it would have been a disaster.
It would have been a disaster, and it would have been caused by a very infinitesimal
few persons, you know.
Thank
you very much for your insights. All right, we'll go to our third story. The presidential candidate of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, for the 2027 election, Peter Obi, has expressed concern over his future, saying he may not even be alive to contest the next presidential election. Obi alleged that the current administration has been deliberately frustrating his activities and those of opposition figures. When asked whether he could miss the 2027 presidential race, Obi replied that the possibility went beyond not being a candidate, saying he could even lose his life if the situation continued. He claimed that nearly every aspect of his work and public engagement has been obstructed, describing what he called persistence and deliberate frustration. However, Obi said he was not making a direct accusation against anyone, but was speaking from his personal experience. His comments have sparked discussion about the state of political competition, freedom of opposition, and the broader democratic environment ahead of the 2027 general election. Mr. Onioni.
Honestly, when I read this, I
Opposition is at it again.
the only thing I can say for that is that it's exaggerating. Okay, because I watched when he parked in the airport, the car was that he locked his way, that he wasn't supposed to park there. How did the action of an airport parking attendant, whose job is to lock ways anyway for people who are parked illegally, which was pointed out to him, how does that translate into decisions from high up to frustrating? Now, the point is that one thing that Obi is very known for is frugality, is because
So I want to ask you something. You remember that in Edo State sometimes last year, there was an attempt at his life in I think it was Oyegu's house, if I could remember very well. So could all of this have been the reasons why he's making these assumptions and perhaps claims?
He has been in the political system long enough to know that everything is very, very rowdy. Okay, especially even if he himself is in a crowd. Okay, now when you say the government is frustrating you, in what manner are they frustrating you? One of the reasons he gave was that even the people that used to know him don't greet him anymore. So the government for that too. Maybe he did something to them and they stopped greeting him. Parking attendant challenge you not to park your car in a particular place in the airport. You say government is responsible. What other reasons did he give? Not very.
He said they are no longer inviting him to weddings.
People who want to go to wedding where
that they are avoiding him.
Where he typically serves food, so just to show his humility, are not inviting him anymore because they are afraid government might retaliate. How many people have government retaliated upon for inviting Obi to weddings? Okay, this is cheap political theater. That's what I would call it, cheap political theater. But there's a purpose to that kind of madness. It keeps you constantly in the news.
Okay.
People are constantly talking about you. But then, if you are now interpreting all this negatively, and blaming opposition, that's also part of a media campaign.
Right.
Yes, this government is known for no holds barred, competition with opposition. You've seen all the court cases upon which they are blaming the government, of course. But the party themselves will not blame themselves for the problems they created within their own party. And when it gets to court and the court rules against them, they blame the government because the government is the one controlling the judiciary.
All right.
Okay, if they know how to control the judiciary, they should try their own luck there. Because but as far as I'm concerned, yes, if you generate the necessary discussions
exactly
on
as media, it is now,
but it won't change that. And then another thing, once you are declared a candidate of a political party, you are automatically entitled to security.
Exactly. I was going to come to that.
Because you could effectively become the next president.
Exactly.
And that is usually given. Let Obi come out and see whether he has not been given
enough security.
He didn't say that actually.
Okay.
Because if that was the case, he will have come out to say it. Okay. But maybe he probably won't accept it because he thinks the security detail is also working for the government. How can you come out and say you don't think you will be alive if anything happens to him now on the basis of this statement,
they will just imagine
they will
that
say
it is the
government is to
president.
blame. It's a very reckless statement, I'm on check. Coming from a candidate who aspires to rule it is a very, very reckless statement. Mr. Tinubu also, the president came out and said, oh, they want to use security to frustrate me so that I will not be comfortable. But he said, oh, but I will contest. I will campaign for my re-election.
Okay.
They all say this, but we shouldn't give it the kind of amplification that
is already gaining such. Mr. Saheed, your thoughts on this too? Do you think he's just trying to whip up sentiments, or what do you think?
I think I will start by saying, Mr. Obi, we wish you long life and prosperity. And on behalf of Nigeria, we don't want you to die. And inshallah, you will be alive in the next election. I think Mr. Obi needs to come up with a better team. He needs to work with a team. He needs to stop doing things alone. Because if he's saying his life is at risk, I don't find any problem with it. But the instances he cited, even a baby won't cite those ones to mean his life is at risk. Even a baby won't do that. So if he says his life is at risk, for example, you cited the
Oyegu
incident. If he cited that incident, cited some other incidents, it would make more sense.
More sense.
But to say, I have a friend that goes to the airport, he intentionally parks in the wrong place. He travels so that he even knows his car is safe. So he wants them to clamp his tire. So instead of having to bring somebody to take him back, so they clamp his tire, the fine is 25,000 naira, he's fine. So when he comes back, he pays his 25,000
and takes his car
and he goes. And he never feels insecure, you know? And the question is, why will you park in the wrong place that your tire was clamped as a presidential candidate that is supposedly known for probably prudency, and you are running on the matter of doing the right thing? You should not disobey, go against laws to the extent that your cars are clamped. Then, in the response of Bayo Ononuga, the spokesperson to Mr. President, Mr. Obi will just make people like Bayo Ononuga to flourish with why right. He said Peter Obi is just unfolding a page in his book of propaganda. And it will look that is not far-fetched to be inferred from the kind of instances he cited. And Bayo Ononuga also cited that Peter Obi has a big shares in Fidelity Bank. And has there been any interest of Fidelity Bank that Tinubu has gone against? He is the owner of Nest Catch and Carry. Has there been a time Nest Catch and Carry had a problem? The last challenge they had was when it got burned some years ago. And now, fortunately, Mr. Obi has been able to gather funds. That is looking like probably the most beautiful shopping mall in the whole of Abuja now. So we congratulate him on that, because I was not happy that place got burnt. We lost a lot of billions, and a lot of people also lost their jobs.
I was a member of the store.
So, Mr. Obi, my advice to Mr. Obi is, please, sir, for the sake of God, for the sake of Allah, start working with a team. Your press releases, you don't even have a spokesperson yet. You should have a spokesperson. You should have your media team. Whatever, because one of the things I see that, and that's why we don't chunk out good leaders. They don't bring people, they are unable to assemble good teams. So if you are going to, for example, where Mr. Obi said this was podcast with Jude, I expect that Jude would have sent some of the questions. Mr. Obi and his team, not even Mr. Obi now, his team
would have sat through.
They would have gone through it, talk points. Mr. Obi he has been the chairman of a bank. He has a special advisor. He's a former governor. Right. So you can't get to those levels without being brilliant. So they should give him these talk points. He does not need to do these things impromptu or just from the head.
All right.
Just off and no. He should get a team. He should get a team. Like now, Baba Atiku has appointed the spokesperson, and they will have a team. He should get a team of intellectuals. Is a stupendously wealthy man. Should be able to aggregate some of the best heads that believe in him, have them as a media team, and whenever he has them, when you have a place to go and talk, Let these guys distill this thing down and give you some talk points.
Thank you so much. If we have to discuss this, we will not leave here today. Thank you so much. Many thanks to my guest, Mr. Rashid Oniyongi, for coming on the program, and Mr. Sahid Ayeboka. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
For more information on our news and reports, subscribe to our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and TikTok. This is Citizen TV, and I'm Grace Ayenika. You have a lovely day.